we're talking to industry experts that are, again, on the front lines of making things happen for the industry, and one of the biggest topics that comes up all the time when you're looking for and shopping for an EV is, of course, charging. And we're joined this morning by first kickoff today with Vik Mehta from Enphase Energy. Vik, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me here. Just amazing to see the energy out here.
Well, I'm going to say, is this your first time at Expo ever, or?
Yes, first time ever.
Well, here you go. Welcome. And we're kind of like, trial by fire here. You're like going, not just attending, you're on stage and talking to the world as you arrive.
That's okay.
Well, hey, so Enphase, again, for those of us who've been in the industry for a long time, we kind of know the history of Enphase and how things kind of have evolved over the years. If you're someone who had a Clipper Creek charger back in the day, you know what Enphase is all about now. So let's just kind of high level, starting out, what is your role at Enphase and what does Enphase offer for EV drivers?
Awesome. So for those who don't know me, my name is Vik Mehta. I lead product for EV charging at Enphase. Enphase has been around for 20 plus years. We are an industry leader in solar and storage, and then expanded into EV charging with the acquisition of Clipper Creek. We have about 5 million systems worldwide, are in 160 countries, and we're a public company. In fact, we are part of the S&P 500. So we entered EV charging a few years ago with the Clipper Creek acquisition, and Clipper Creek was the leader in non-network charging stations. And then more recently, we launched a charger that integrates with the rest of the Enphase Energy solar system, so you could charge your car with green energy. And then we are launching a Gen 2 version of that charger in a few weeks. And we are also working on a bidirectional charger, which will come out in a year. And it's a great fit for Enphase because we know the home really well, we know the grid really well, and we're already working with auto EM partners to make the charger a reality.
Well, I think you hit on something really important, too, is you guys know the home really well, and that's something that the combination of what you've done with energy storage and solar over the years, but then really bringing that into the mix with charging, really kind of set the stage for like this one-stop shop ecosystem if you own a house.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know that home is something that is near and dear to your heart. It's something that you brought to market many times. And I know you have been working at home charging for, several years. So one thing that I wanted to kick it off with is like, what has been your journey really developing the home charging experience and the way it has evolved now to start looking at V2G kind of integration?
Awesome. That's a great point. So as Dario knows, I've been in home charging for 10 plus years now. And I think the initial journey was, okay, let's solve a customer problem, which is, how do I charge my car? The best place to charge is at your home. We solved that problem. It's a solved problem. I left ChargePoint, but the problem was still not fully solved in my head, which is it's great. You have a home charger, but how do you actually power the home? And so the answer was when Enphase called, I'm like, yep, that's the solution. Let's charge it with green energy. So we launched a home charger with Enphase where your EV will charge with green energy using your solar system on the road. And now it's the next evolution, which is, okay, great. The technology is taking us in a way where it's reverse in the sense that your EV can power your home during an outage. And that's the next evolution, and Enphase is ready to be there.
Yeah, that we hear about it all the time, Vita X, Vita something. And we're always, again, whether we're talking to someone who's on the front lines of the charger side of it, whether it's utilities, automakers are trying to figure out how to best play with it. I think the part that's going to be a process over time is really leapfrogging people into the understanding of what that means for their ownership experience, right? Is on one hand, it's like I just go home and I fill up. But now it's this combination of, well, because of bidirectional, you can also maybe power your house or in the long term help with the load on the grid and help making sure that we're not using too much energy at the wrong time or even selling back to the grid. And I think it's going to be kind of a phased process to make sure that people understand the value proposition of that. What's your thought on that?
No, it's exciting to be there, right? Because just think about the evolution of cars, right? You have a gas car that takes you from point A to point B. And EV does the same, but it's much better for the environment and much better for your pocket because it's much cheaper to charge with electricity. And now with bidirectional EVs, think of it like, I was explaining it to my 7-year-old, it's like a backup generator or a battery on wheels. So if you have an outage, right, your lights go down, you plug in your EV, your home will be powered on. And what most people don't know is that the battery in the car is 5 to 10 times bigger than the typical home battery. So a typical home battery can power your house for a day, but with the bidirectional EV, you can power your home for a week.
Or even longer, depending on the size of that battery. I mean, yeah, some of these batteries in some of these vehicles that are bidirectional, these are batteries that are double the size of the batteries we've seen in typical electric vehicle sedans over the years, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Like it's 5 to 10x, right? Like depends whether you should drive a Chevy Bolt or a Ford F-150.
Right, yeah, or a GMC Hummer. It's those batteries are massive. Now, so all of that to be said, this is something that is not, kind of theoretical. You guys are already bringing this to market now. You've got the charger, you've got all the, home energy storage, you got solar. The bidirectional component, that's new, but you guys have that in market already, yeah?
Yeah, so that's the cool thing. This is all like proven technology, right? So if you go on our website, you'll see a video. We installed one charger at a general manager's house. It's actually working. And if you think of it, right, it's just two components. It's a very elegant design. You have a meter collar that's shipping today, and it just hangs onto the meter of your house. And then you have the bidirectional EV charger. And that uses the same inverter technology that we have on the roof, and we've shipped millions and millions of. So it's working today. We are actively testing with auto OEMs. So it's about a year out. You can do this within a year.
Awesome, and as you can get your car connected to your house and powering everything in your house, obviously there are options to prioritize what is being charged and what is perhaps it's not as necessary, right off the bat. So we were talking yesterday about prioritizing the refrigerator, prioritizing things of that nature. So can you talk a little bit about the intelligence once you get past that meter and managing the power in the house?
Yeah, absolutely. We do that today, right? So with our batteries, you could actually configure, like these are what's called as essential loads. So for example, your light, your refrigerator, maybe your HVAC, and these are non-essential loads. And we could do that today with our AI algorithms. What I foresee with an EV, because the battery is so big, that you don't even have to prioritize in the future. Because typical outages last for a day, a 2 or 3, and a typical EV can power your home for a week.
You just have access to so much of that energy that you can in turn basically you don't have to think too much because you got access to so much stationary storage. Well, stationary in the sense that it's sitting still, but it's on wheels, like you said to your son.
That's correct, right? It's a battery on wheels.
Well, and all that, this is something that everybody that attends Expo, whatever city we go to, there's always this general element of people that, people like us, we've worked it, we've lived it, we know it. But most people showing up to Expo, this is all fresh ideas to them. They've never heard of vehicle to grid or V to X or anything along those lines. Their understanding of a car is pretty straightforward it's got 4 wheels and it gets me where I want to go. But the energy ownership component of being in the EV ecosystem is something that for many, many people is brand new. The learning curve is then steep because of that, because not everybody is an engineer. So how do we break through with communication to help people understand this without intimidating them by thinking, I got to learn all this engineering stuff and it's so hard? I think to your point, if you just plug in the car, you kind of don't have to think because there's so much energy, but what's that learning curve going to look like and what have you seen in your career?
Yeah, no, it's a great point, right? I think the solution's pretty simple, right? It's something that goes onto your meter and the charger, and all you as a homeowner have to do is plug in, and lights will turn on. Or if it's already plugged in, you don't have to do anything. You'll not even notice if there's a power outage. So I think from an education perspective, yes, the industry needs to do a better job. So we have a great video on our website that just shows how it's actually working, right? Plug in, boom, lights turn on. And we'll keep doing that over the next few years.
Well, education is a big part of what Expo is all about.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh-oh. Straight up, go for it.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay.
We need one more.
So, no, the other thing that I was talking about is that, intuitively when I was approaching this subject, I thought, well, I have a home battery, my car, there's no way that I'm going to supersede that because that's a dedicated battery pack. But now as you're talking about that, it's like several times larger in capacity. So, I don't have to even worry about my car being depleted in order to favor, an outage. So which is a big, big myth-busting moment right now.
That is a great point, right? Like, typical outages last for a day, and your car battery will last you for a week. So you can power your home, go do your groceries, come back, not a problem at all. We still recommend homeowners having a small backup battery just in the case you need to go do groceries and things like that. But your EV is more than sufficient to do both.
I think you bring up a great point on that. Is where the automakers, for example, when they started looking at the opportunity for this, they represented, okay, you can plug in your car and it'll power your house, the power goes out. And I remember looking on some of the owner groups forums and people that were reserving for some of these vehicles, like the F-150 Lightning when it came out. One of the guys said, yeah, I went to my electrician, said, hey, I want to get all this hooked up and get it done. And as the electrician was explaining to him, he's like, okay, this is how it's going to work. He said, it then struck me, he's like, my daughter has asthma, and if the power goes out and I'm using my truck to power the house, but then if she has an asthma attack, I got to unplug the truck and take her to the hospital or something. What happens? He goes, well, yeah, then your house turns off. So to your point about having a small, as an option, a smaller backup battery in case of those moments where you're not solely reliant on the vehicle, but the vehicle is kind of that cherry, on the top of the sundae for being the best of the best.
That's correct, right? That's exactly why we recommend a small battery, just in case, for those cases, right? Sometimes you might just have to go to the hospital, do groceries, so we still recommend a battery. And then it's our job, right, as industry pioneers to make sure all of it works seamlessly. So you unplug it, if your battery's there, it will take within microseconds or milliseconds, and you as a homeowner won't even notice the difference.
Yeah, the system then says, no longer the car battery, now I'm using the home battery.
That's correct. It's all done automatically. As a homeowner, you don't have to worry about it.
So for those people that have never heard of Enphase Energy before, they've been hearing this conversation, they might hear this later, where do they go to find out more information about your products, and how do they find out more information about purchasing, things of that nature?
Yeah, so we have a great website, enphase.com. You go there, there's a charger section, there's a special section on bidirectional charging. Everything is out there. There's a video, which includes our founder. He talks about this in much detail. There's a white paper, which we've written, which goes into great technical detail if you are somebody who wants to geek out on things like that.
If you want to nerd out on it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm excited personally because the future is here. I've seen it working live, and we're working with auto OEMs to make it a reality. So just super excited about the future.
That's awesome. Dario, anything else you want to add?
No, this is amazing. I mean, I think that I want to meet next year again and ask you a little bit about what's the vision for apartments. Because obviously we have so many people, here that visit us that live in apartments, and they're looking at this as like, yes, I want that, but I'm not quite there yet. So maybe we'll meet, next time and talk about apartments.
That's a great point. I mean, because there's a lot of discussion about owning an EV is so great if you can charge at home, but half of America can't charge at home. And so those types of customers that don't feel they have the same level of control over the product purchasing and experience with the energy we're talking about, that is going to be a next phase for Enphase. I mean, in my thoughts. I guess, is that even on your guys' radar?
Yeah, absolutely. We do support multifamily today with partners. So that problem is being solved by our partners, where we provide part of the solution and they provide the other pieces of the solution. So that's a problem that we are absolutely addressing, and happy to talk about it more.
That's awesome. Thank you so
much.
much.
Tip of the iceberg on that one. I mean, this is all very complex. And that's the thing of it is for people to have that experience you're talking about where they don't have to think, they just plug in, things are working for them seamlessly in the background. There's a lot that goes into making that happen. And I think that a lot of people have taken energy for granted for a long time. We've just sort of had it at our fingertips. It's been easy to use, whether we're talking about gasoline or even using electricity. But all of how this is going to dynamically change people's lives based on their lifestyle, the thing is, we have to make it seamless and simple, and it sounds like you guys have already been way ahead of that because of, again, the decades of experience you have in the energy sector.
Yeah, I think our golden rule at Enphase is it has to be simple for the homeowners. And otherwise, nobody's going to adopt it. And we've been doing that for 20 years, and we'll keep doing that.
That's awesome. Well, for those who are listening, this is the EV Reality Check booth. It is powered by GreenCars.com. If you can hear our voices, there's a free T-shirt that awaits you. So swing on by. Come on into the EV Reality Check booth. Get your free T-shirt. And for those who want more information about Enphase, go to Enphase.com. Vik, it's just so cool to talk to you guys about what you're working on. Thank you again for coming by.
Thank you so much for having me. Just excited to be here and keep doing what you guys are doing.